What's going on with these decommits, man? Let's talk about it. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Junior the Big Dog, the best place to find the content on Miami Hurricanes football as well as sports in general. But today, obviously, we're talking about the Canes and a hot topic right now, the decommits. But what's going on, Big Dog?
As always, all about the you.
Hey, I like that. I like that banner you got there, man. Where'd you get that?
That was one of my Father's Day gifts from my son, my brand new banner. I'm actually sitting on another gift. This is from my wife.
Yeah.
For the recliner.
Where do these people get the idea that you like the Canes so much, man?
Yeah, you can tell how obsessed I am with the Canes. Every gift, every birthday, Christmas, or Father's Day, I get Miami Hurricane stuff all the time, and I love it all. I love it all.
It looks good. It's adding something to that little backdrop is adding something to this. So
I actually had a guy. You saw it. Beautiful. A guy that I work with gave me a cornhole set with University of Miami customized, and it was just beautiful. So I even have a cornhole set with the University of Miami, which I think I've played cornhole just a few times in my life. But
it doesn't matter. It's decked out with the Canes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Baby,
no, it's beautiful. That had to cost them a pretty penny to get it as nice, and it has great finish. I mean, it's just gorgeous. On one of the episodes, I'll put it on there.
I think we can all agree that you can never have too much stuff from the Canes. So
that's it. It's all about the you, baby. All about the you.
Yes, sir.
And
so
now,
go ahead.
Let's get to the decommitments, because apparently with
some people are not all about the you.
That's right.
Two players in specific that decommitted this past week. So we felt like we had to make a video, not just touching on them, in specific, but diving into some of the overreaction I feel that some Canes fans are having with these decommitments. So we just felt like we had to make a video about it.
Yeah, that's the thing is listen, I understand disappointment, and the two guys that decommitted this past week are, one is really talented, and Donell Harris, and the other one's, was our top wide receiver in the 2020 class. Here, okay, there's a lot to unpack here, and it has different levels. So let's go level by level and just unpack one thing at a time, and there's some overlap. First thing is, obviously, we have touched on this before. You don't want to ever go at these kids on Twitter. It's not the thing to do. At the end of the day, they're young kids making a really difficult decision. And, yeah, a lot of times, and I'm one of – I call them divas sometimes, because there's some kids that it seems that what they want is all the attention. So they decommit, and it's just because they want the attention. And they'll say they're committing to this school, and then they'll commit to the other, and that's when people, we call them divas, because it just seems that they're thirsting for attention. Then there's some other situations that are not like that. But regardless what the situation is, you still shouldn't go at these kids on Twitter. I know, and this needs to be said. It's a small minority of people that go at these kids on Twitter. Most of them, even when they're disappointed, they'll just unfollow them or say, hey, I don't understand what you're doing. Best of luck to you, whatever. That's fine. I just don't like to see grown men going at a teenager because you don't like the fact that he's waffling on a decision. And I understand. Listen, I understand about being disappointed. I'm one of those that talks about some of the diva aspects of some of these guys. I think those guys end up underperforming because they're focused on the wrong thing. Instead of being focused on their achievement, they're focused on the attention.
And there's another aspect to that I think some Cane fans fail to recognize. The experience, especially when you're such a highly touted recruit, such as Donell Harris, you want that experience of visiting all these schools, and you want, to go to the Bamas and go here, to go that. The problem that a lot of Canes fans have is, okay, once you do that and then you have the offers on the table, if you want to explore your options and you want to see other campuses and you want to, talk to other coaches, that's fine. But don't make a commitment to a school and then back off of it later. I think that's one of the biggest problems that Canes fans have. But like you said, you make a good point. On Twitter, I see it a lot. I see it a lot from bitter and salty Canes fans that.
But it's a minority.
No, yeah, minority. Absolutely.
And one of the guys that on our comment sections, and by the way, we'll get to that at the end of it, but we love comments and we love feedback. One of the guys said that there's at times people that have fake Twitter accounts pretending to be Miami fans and say things in a negative way. Right. But there is
you part of I feel like you have that with every school, though. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, you might, but. And a vast majority of Canes fans do it the right way. Mm-hmm. They don't go at these kids at Twitter. They just either unfollow them or just ignore it or just say that they're disappointed and wish them luck. And I get it that Donell Harris did do something, because Bryan Robinson was the other decommit, the wide receiver. He just said, I decommitted from Miami. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, it rubbed them the wrong way that Donell Harris said, I am Miami in capital letters. I'm all about Miami, but you're decommitting. So that I know rubbed people the wrong way. But the vast majority of Miami fans do it the right way. They don't go at these kids. So I'm not
right. But the thing,
it's a small group that does it.
I saw it a lot with Williams, with the 2021 with James Williams. I saw it a lot with him because he was one of those guys, and you even saw like DJ Dallas, saying we don't beg, because he was one of these guys that was like, hey, I bleed orange and green. I'm all about this. I'm not gonna decommit, and then he decommitted. So that's something that really got Canes fans.
Correct, but we go back to the same thing. At the end of the day, they're kids. If you're out somewhere and you see a kid misbehave, that's not your kid. Mm-hmm. Okay. It would take something extreme for you to even reprimand the kid. Yeah. Because that's not your kid.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they're 6'5", 240 pounds. They're 17 years old. They're 18 years old. They're 16 years old. Mm-hmm. They're still young kids that are growing into manhood.
Their brains are still developing, for God's sake.
Correct. I mean, I understand being disappointed. I understand not liking the way they did it. Like you mentioned James Williams a few weeks ago and the way Donell Harris did it this week. Harris is also trying to reclassify. He wants to actually become a 2020 kid and not a 2021. So that's also part of it. I think part of it for Miami guys is, like you said, James Williams tweeted out, I think it was in December, he was tweeted out that he would never decommit and that he was you all the way through. And then right before he decommitted, he said he was wearing Sean Taylor's number in high school. Yeah. So because of how much he bleeds orange and green and decommits, and then Donell Harris.
Even though at the rate that Williams is growing, I'm not so sure he's going to be a safety anymore, frankly.
I think he's at 6'5" already. So I think you're looking at a kid who's going to be a linebacker.
Yeah, maybe, and if he keeps on growing, maybe even a defensive end.
Maybe even a defensive end. Yeah. And an amazing one, because he's going to have that athleticism.
The thing about Harris that was strange to me is the talk of why he wanted to play at the University of Miami and why he committed in the first place. I mean, him and his dad grew up huge Hurricane fans, so it seemed like that was a sure get. And obviously, I think he's the number 4th overall player ranked right now for the 2021 class. So we're talking about, a big recruit. Right. So the fact that he decommitted, so you're seeing a lot of it. Now, one thing I also wanted to touch on very quick is, yes, these kids are very young. So obviously, they're not grown men. They're not as wise. We've all made a lot of mistakes growing up. and we're nowhere near the same person, especially if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you're nowhere near the same person that
50s.
you are. Oh, there you go, 50s. You're nowhere near the same person that you were when you were their age.
Right.
And also another thing is, these highly touted recruits, these guys that are getting offers from all these big time schools, the Bamas, the Georgias, the Floridas, obviously the U. They have a lot of people doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
All the time. So, it's very hard for a kid that wants to go to the school, but then he has friends, and he has his girlfriend, and then he has an uncle, and then he has his second cousin from so many people in their ears. So then that makes them second guess things. And then I feel like now the place that we're at, Manny's not trying to play any games with these recruits. He's
rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's something that I love. That the message that Manny is sending, hey man, if give us something that we could feel comfortable with, like commit, come through, because if not, we're not gonna wait for you, buddy.
You keep looking around. You keep looking around. We keep looking around.
We keep looking around. So that's a message that I do like that we're sending. We're not dealing with the. What I don't want to happen is I'd rather a guy decommit now than next year when it comes to National Signing Day. A guy that's favored to be a Hurricane going on ESPN and picking up a Bama hat or picking up a Florida hat. I'd rather have guys decommit now and then bring in other guys that we know are all about this and really do bleed orange and green, that are going to come through, and there is no second thoughts like, no, I'm a Hurricane through and through. I mean, you saw it with Marcus Fleming, what Marcus Fleming said. With Bryan Robinson, decommitting, is there any chances that maybe you're thinking, and he's like, no way. I'm a Hurricane 100%. So you want guys like that to play here. And if a guy's second guessing, I don't care if you're a 3-star, 4-star, 5. I do not care what your ranking is. If you're not all about this, and if you're having second thoughts, deuces. We'll go somewhere else. We'll find somebody else that wants to play for this University of Miami.
Good luck to you.
That's it.
Good luck to you, young man, and absolutely. And that's why I say there's a lot of different levels of this to unpack. So we already handled the don't go at the kids for Twitter. They're deserving of criticism. I'm not excusing their behavior. Okay, so let's get that right. I'm not excusing it. Some of it is diva behavior. Some of it is confusion. Some of it is people getting in their ear. And listen, I'm not naive. We're not going to discuss this here because we don't have any proof, and we like making fact-based comments and fact-based opinions. I understand that there's some shady business that goes on at times, and some cash being exchanged. And listen, that's as old as college football almost. So I'm not, or as old as college football. So I'm not naive, and I know those things happen. The Donell Harris one seems shady. Yeah. Just seems shady. But again, that's not a fact-based comment. That is a rumor, innuendo, possibility that something happened, because I don't understand him reclassifying to 2020. He could still stay with Miami. Because obviously we would take him. We're going to take a defensive end in this class. We have Romulo Height from Georgia visiting as we speak this weekend. He's a 6'5" guy. He did play linebacker, but he's a defensive end at the college level. So I understand people making those comments. Okay, I'm not going to make those comments here because I have no proof to back that up. So that's just innuendo. All right. But here's the thing I do want to stress. So we already handled that part of not going at these kids, even when you don't like the way that they did it. It's not a good look. It's not, the optics aren't right when you go after a kid and you're a grown man. Yeah. And you go after on Twitter. So just ignore it. I understand, like I said, I understand the frustration, especially when they make comments like James Williams and Donell Harris did. Okay? I get it. But at the end of the day, they're kids. Now, going from this aspect of why Miami is always going to have, and it doesn't matter if we win a national championship, we're always going to have some decommits because it's complicated, and I'll tell you why. Miami does a great job, and they have even the previous staff, of getting in early on these South Florida kids, especially on the Florida kids overall, but especially the South Florida kids. Best high school football in the country is Florida, no doubt. It's a big gap between 1 and number 2 of either Texas or California,
Right.
and then Georgia pulling
right,
up
yeah.
at number 4, and actually where I live now, Ohio is probably number 5. But Florida has an immense amount of talent. You know, where we talked about it, a 3-star here could be a 5-star someplace else. The fact that Miami gets in early with these kids, they're doing a great job establishing relationship with the coaches. Okay, they get in early. We get commitments right now. 2021, we still have the number 1 class. We have 9 commits, including the 2 recent decommits for 2021. The team that's second place to Miami right now,
USC,
in the 2021 rankings is USC, and they have 3 commits.
Yeah,
we have 9.
Right.
Okay, so whenever you have that many early commits, you're going to have some decommits, and it doesn't matter. People say, "Oh, well, look at our record." Listen, many people think Bryan Robinson is going to end up at FSU because his relationship, the reason he committed in the first place, was his relationship with Ron Dugans, who's over at FSU now.
Now, well, not just Bryan Robinson, but Harris.
Yeah,
one of the crystal balls have him going to FSU.
FSU,
and that's one point I wanted to point out as well, that a lot of people are saying, and I see it on Twitter, that, oh, you can't expect these kids, these highly touted kids, to come to the University of Miami when, you know, we're going 7-6. What was FSU's record last year?
I believe it was 5-7.
Okay, so, you know.
And the previous year, they had to make up a game just to be bowl eligible at 6 wins.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not, and that previous year we were 10-3.
Yeah.
The year before that we were 9-4.
So I get it. Like, you do have to win, and we've talked about it before.
Right.
Like we even mentioned it, like with Flo. Like, you know, Justin Flo, we have to win. USC hopefully has a down year, and then maybe we have a chance at Justin Flo. We understand that we have to win.
They don't get a Meyer.
Yeah.
That's Dennis brought that up.
We understand that we have to win, and winning obviously would want to bring these kids because they want to be part of something special and they want to compete for natties. But for these 2 decommits in particular, especially Bryan Robinson, because I think the whole relationship with Ron Dugans, like you mentioned, is probably going to pull him to FSU. So, but I see a lot of Canes fans saying, like, yo, oh, we got to win, man. We got to win. These last 2 decommits this week, okay, their crystal balls have them basically leaning towards Florida State. And Florida State, there's a dumpster fire going on up there in Tallahassee. So, yeah, you have to win, but that is not always the case for all these recruits. Right. It's not like you're magically going to get every single freaking 5-star because you start, you know, winning natties and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's the thing. So the what I wanted to unpack is that, okay, let's say instead of Clemson, it was us that won the national championship last year. Okay? Miami, when we have so many commits early, and listen, people say, well, I don't like taking early commits. What are you going to do? You got a 5-star talent, you know, and he says to you, oh, I'm all about this I want to commit. You're going to say, oh, no, wait. Of course you're not. Nobody does that. Okay, nobody does that. If a kid wants to commit early, you take him. Okay? So the fact that Miami addresses this talent, sees it early, builds a relationship early, because that's the thing I don't like is it seems like the coaching staff, and not just Manny, because Manny just took over and did an amazing job with the transfer portal in 2019. So he's done a great job recruiting.
Yes.
But not just Manny, but even the previous staff. If we get the commit early and he decommits, they criticize him. Oh, you see, you shouldn't take commits that far out. Okay. Then if we don't take the commit and the kid doesn't, you know, he doesn't come to us, oh, we didn't get on him early. You know what I'm saying? And then if the kid commits and then decommits, oh, it's his staff's fault that he decommitted.
Yeah, that, and another thing that I do not understand for the life of me is people saying, oh man, the Canes can't be missing out on kids like this. I mean, we gotta secure the state of Miami, and but I hear crickets like when we do sign a big time player.
Right.
like I hear, oh no, the U, we're supposed to do that. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't decommit. So there's like all these fans, and look, guys, like my dad said earlier on, I'm not talking to the majority of Canes fans. Like this is the minority that I see on Twitter. But obviously, I mean, you live in a climate where the negativity tends to outshine the positivity sometimes.
Right.
So
because people notice it, right?
Because people notice it. So,
right.
But that's what I don't understand. So when we do, bring in and we do get these highly touted commits, and we get somebody like Jalen Rivers that just committed last week to us, and okay, yeah, that's good. All right, cool. Now what's next? So you guys don't give that as much attention as it should. But you always give all this attention to these decommits. And another thing, me and you talked about this yesterday after Bryan Robinson, decommitted. Michael Redding, the third, he's a wide receiver out of IMG, and he's a guy that we actually think has even more talent. But he wasn't a guy that we were necessarily recruiting because we had Bryan Robinson. But now Miami is warm on his trail. He has 4 crystal balls, two for Florida State. 2 undecided, but Miami is warm. And there was a tweet sent out talking about, somebody, I forgot who it was, so I'm sorry that I forgot who it was that tweeted to him, but saying that, this is the guy that I want the Canes to go ahead and look at. And then he replied to that tweet, throwing up the U, hashtag TNM. So there's interest from him. And there's obviously interest now. The Canes are hot on his trail. And if you guys don't know who it is, Michael Redding III, just look him up on 247 and Huddle. Look up some of his film, and then so decommit now, Robinson. Don't decommit in the future, so that we could get somebody like Redding, so we could get other people that do want to play here.
And just to give you the particulars, guys, on Michael Redding, we didn't include him in our wide receiver breakdown because we weren't recruiting.
We weren't recruiting him, exactly,
and everybody had him going to FSU. He's 6'1". Built a little bit stockier, I think, overall than Robinson. Mm-hmm. Here's a big thing: 41-inch vertical leap with Michael Redding. Michael Redding the third?
Yes, Michael Redding the third.
Right, 41-inch vertical leap. Yeah. This stud athlete. So, and it's somebody that we like quite a bit when you see him and you see his film. But this is my point. I'm glad you said that because I want to piggyback that real quick. Okay, we already established Miami's going to get in there early, and we're always going to have some decommits. Okay, let's assume that it was us instead of Clemson that won the national championship last year. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's look at Michael Robinson. He established a relationship with Dugans, who's no longer there. Mm. Okay, now he says to himself, okay, I'm committed. Marcus Fleming, wide receiver's committed. Javier Restrepo's committed. And Miami's still looking at receivers. Mm-hmm. Okay, they have a very talented receiving core. They only lose KJ Osborne and possibly Jeff Thomas. Correct, that he can go. Right. That means Mark Pope is going to be back next year. Brian Hightower is going to be back next year. D. Wiggins is going to be back next year. So just looking, Jeremiah Payton, well, I don't think I mentioned him, is going to be there this next year. Exactly. So Bryan Robinson, okay, let's just assume, like I said, instead of being 7-6, we won the national championship. Mm-hmm. He has to be thinking to himself, wait a second. They got Fleming. They got Restrepo on top of me. They're still recruiting guys because we were talking to Redding. We had talked to Rome Udinese, I believe it is, from Bishop Gorman. I believe that's the way you pronounce it. Jalen Hyatt, that kid that ran the 4.31. So he's thinking, well, they're bringing in 3 other receivers besides me.
And they're still looking.
And they're still looking for Mookie Cooper too. Man, and they got Jeremiah Payton, Mark Pope, Brian Hightower, D. Wiggins, Evans Njoku, all these guys coming back. Man, look at FSU. Maybe I can play at FSU more. Mm-hmm. Dugans is my boy. Dugans and him are built that relationship.
Right.
Okay, so even winning a national championship, there's other things that go into these kids' head. Yeah. There's other things that go into their head. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's other aspects that you're not looking at. I mean, and it could come down to some silly things. He likes a girl that's going to that school. His buddy is going to that school.
There's a lot of things behind the scenes, man.
And there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We talk about that they're kids. So all this heat of criticism, Miami's always going to have some decommits because we get on these kids early. They commit to us early, and then some of them stick, guys. A lot of them stick, and especially when you win, a lot of them are going to stick.
Exactly.
Some of them are always going to drop off, period, because there's a lot of reasons why kids decide which way to go.
Yeah.
100%. Okay, so that's the other part that I wanted to unpack.
Yeah. I think it's so. I mean, look, and I think I said this on Twitter. I don't feel as one thing that has always rubbed me the wrong way is having these kids that we think are locks to come to Miami, especially the highly rated ones, and them going on TV and then kind of like, low balling the Canes and then picking up another hat. That's something I don't like. So I'd rather not have anybody on ESPN put on that U hat. Then, like, my point is, I'd rather have people decommit now than decommit when it comes to National Signing Day on TV. Decommit now, and then we'll go ahead and bring in these other guys, and we'll go ahead and look elsewhere. That's what I love that Manny's doing, and I just feel like I hear about this decommit, and like I said it on Twitter when Harris decommitted. Like, damn, that sucks, man. Like, he looks like he's going to be a stud. But all right, we'll get somebody else. Like, my confidence, I have a lot of confidence in his coaching staff. I have a lot of confidence in Manny. Manny hasn't even coached one game, hasn't been the head coach for one game yet. August 24th is not here yet. And when you bring into account the players, all right, that he's already recruited as well as what he's done in the transfer portal, come on, man. How can you not have the faith? So relax, all right? Keep the overreaction to a minimum. Stop bashing these kids on Twitter, and just move on with your day, man. Just have the faith that this coaching staff is going to get it done because, honestly, I truly believe that they will.
You mentioned our 2018 class, okay? To me, it was the best class in the country. It ended up rated, whatever, 8th or 6th or the different sites, but we ended up with a top 10 class. Tom Luganville from ESPN actually said that in terms of skill positions, Miami had the best class in the country because we had Jaron Williams, we had Mark Pope, Lorenzo Lingard, Cam, at that time Cam Davis, now Cam Harris, Brevin Jordan, Will Mallory, all these guys. Okay. We had no drama on 2018. None.
Nope.
Okay. Because early signing day came, we got whatever it was, like 19 guys signed on the early signing day. Yeah. And many of them were early enrollees, and we had no drama. So you're right. If you're going to decommit, do it now. That's fine. Do it now. We'll get, like Manny said, you either, play for the U and compete for national championships, or you're going to get your butt kicked by the U. And we'll find somebody else. And I wish the kids good luck. Maybe they end up recommitting to Miami. I don't see it, frankly. I really don't. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't necessarily see it with any of them in terms of recommitting because that happens fairly rarely. But it does happen.
It does happen, but I also feel like Manny's not playing that game.
No, we're definitely not begging. But look, Ladarius Tennyson decommitted, and now I think we're in a good place with Tennyson again. Yeah, we'll see. Strange things happen, and it can happen. But you're right. I do like the way Manny's approaching it. People are saying Tyreek Austin Cave is a guy that Manny's saying, if you want your spot, let me hear it. Yeah. And that's the right way to do it. Okay. Yeah. The nice soft guy approach I don't like, which the previous staff did, because like you said, came to signing day and all of a sudden, you didn't get him, and now you can't go out and get somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So just have faith. Like I said, Manny deserves the faith. He deserves the benefit of the doubt because he took over and with the transfer portal turned that 2019 class into something special. And he's done a great job recruiting now. And even the guys that we have committed, Manny does a great job, and the whole staff does. They all work hard. So I don't want to just give Manny the credit of showing the guys that we have committed love.
Yeah.
like we sent out, I think it was Enos and Eric Hickson went to see Don Chaney's spring game, yes, or the spring jamboree that Bellin Jesuit played. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're doing a great job of staying in touch with these guys, but it happens, and it's always going to happen, no matter what, because of all the early commitments that we get at Miami.
Yeah, and one last thing I just want to say, you know, Harris is a defensive end, Bryan Robinson's a wide receiver. I think when you take into account all of the position groups on our team, we're not really begging or at a huge need at defensive end or at wide receiver. So the fact you can never have too many pass rushers, don't get me wrong.
Correct.
But and obviously you can never have too much talent, but it's not like we had a big time linebacker commit that we're really gonna need, you know, for next year and beyond, and decommitted. I think that would feel kind of different because we know we're in need of linebackers, especially after this year. So I think it would have been different, but at the end of the day, you know, I think we've already covered all the points, man. Don't sweat it. You know, have faith in his coaching staff that if a guy decommits, they're gonna go out and get somebody comparable or maybe sometimes even better. I think Michael Redding III is better than Bryan Robinson, and that's just one example. So I mean,
of course, I think Robinson's ranked higher, but Redding's the better athlete, and I think the better prospect.
Yeah. So I want to get the posts from you guys. Like we said, this is things that we've been reading a lot on Twitter and the environment, a lot of conversations back and forth that we see on Twitter and stuff like that. So we want to get, you know, the opinions of you guys. You know, what's the pulse of you guys? What do you guys think about these decommits? Do you guys agree with what we're saying? Do you disagree? Doesn't matter, man. Leave a comment and we'll go ahead and interact with you guys and have a conversation about it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. Like, subscribe, share, you know, leave your comments. Like I said, hit that bell notification. Yeah, we would really appreciate it, man. So yeah, you're good, dog?
I'm good.
I'm good.
It's all about the you.
Always, baby. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Ryan Little. Yoga.